Hey everyone, what is going on? Apprentice Demond here, and we are here with Jullan, Hernandez, and we are part of, we are the Silent Patriots? Silent Patriots, yeah.
Well, I thought we changed it last time to Bubbles and Bar Fights, right?
Bubbles and Bar Fights. We are, who's Bubbles? Who would be Bubbles in this situation?
You're way more Budley. You're way more...
Air Force, I think I would definitely be Bubbles with the energy and the talking, and you would be Bar Fights, being the Marine guy.
I'm already drinking, so
already ready for a bar fight. Either way, our goal here is to help serve those who have served. Right? That's like literally that's the mission I think of. It is short, simple, a little cheesy, but it's to the point of what we're here to do. Right? We serve those who have served, and we try to get you those tools, tricks, and tactics that's going to help you become the best version of yourself and achieve the dreams that you want. And today's episode, we are going to be pretty much hearing Jullan's story.
Wait. So recap real quick. Last episode, which was numero uno, right? We talked about what this is about, right? And we talked, and I think you just pretty much hit on it. Just wanted to kind of bring those people in who are like, who the hell are these two people? But anyways, go continue, sir.
Yeah. So last episode, we definitely talked about who this is for, what this is not, right? So you're not going to hear politics. You're not going to hear religion. You're not going to hear strippers. None of that. You're not going to hear. Just C-shirt. You shouldn't hear them. Right? So first off, let's get that clear. But today, I wanted to take a little bit of time to... The next few episodes, we're going to take a little bit of time to actually share with you a little bit about us. So you get to know a little bit about who we are, where we come from, and how we got to where we are right now, right? And so today, I'm doing all this talking now because Jullan's going to be doing all this talking starting like 30 seconds after this, all right? So if you're curious about him, where he's been, what he's been up to, you want to listen in. And if you're obsessive, you want to take notes. And if you're super obsessive, you'll stalk him on Facebook.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. All right. Well, hey guys, Jullan Hernandez, right? Before I start, actually, I want to put it out there, okay? These are all opinions, right? And you'll start seeing these as we go through to episode 3, 4, 5, whatever, if we last that long, which we will. But these are our opinions. We're not speaking for the military. We're not speaking for whoever's in Biden. Yeah, we're not speaking for the government and any other entity. We're just two guys hanging out, right? But as far as I go, now that that's out of the way, you already know my name. I was actually, what a lot of people don't know about me, I was actually born and raised in the Philippines. I actually came here when I was 5. Did kindergarten in New York City in the Bronx, which is kind of weird. Because my mom came here, right? She was a nurse. My real dad was a civil engineer in the Philippines. Anyway, so she came here, and a year later brought me, or a couple of years later brought me.
Was your dad military?
No, my dad was a Filipino. He was a civil engineer.
Okay, all right.
So came here, actually did kindergarten here. In the United States, in New York City, in the Bronx, and did it for a year, and then a year later I went back to the Philippines because my parents separated. My mom stayed in the United States. Me and my dad went home because at the time, I was dad's boy. You know what I mean? I wanted to do whatever dad wanted, and like, oh, dad, like I want to sit there and watch TV and eat popcorn, or scratch my face or whatever it is, And so I went home with him and spent basically the next 3 to 4 years in the Philippines and reintegrated back into Filipino society. What little society?
So how does that work? Not how does that work, but how is it in the Philippines compared to being here? And do you remember that?
I remember all of that. I actually barely remember my year in kindergarten. I remember 2 things my year in kindergarten in the Bronx. 1, I peed my pants in class, standing in line, because I was just so scared to for one, I was so new to the United States, right? So I was so scared. I didn't know, like, I was just in a new place, new country. The only English I did know was taught to me in school, because what a lot of people don't know is in the Philippines, there's two national languages, right? Tagalog, and then there is English. And then depending on where you live, you have that language also, that dialect. So, excuse me. I remember peeing my pants, standing in the line in the hallway because I was so scared to ask. And then I remember seeing snow for the first time and just rolling around in it, right? And so anyway, so I ended up going back to the Philippines, kind of went to school there, reintegrated myself. And at that time, that year, believe it or not, that year I spent there, I forgot the native language, like, completely. Like, I just completely forgot it. And I had to relearn it, reintegrate that, and then I, learned English and stuff like that. I became, like, I remember, so what kindergarten is here, I was already in the United States, was like, excuse me, what should I say? Like, I don't know, fourth grade here is like third grade or second grade in the Philippines. It's like, so get back there, relearn all this stuff, and anyways, spent the next 3 years in the Philippines with my dad. 3 years later, my mom came and got me again. At this point, she had remarried and brought me to Chesapeake, Virginia, big Navy town, right? That's where I first met my stepdad, who's in the Navy, who actually I call my dad now. He never adopted me, but he's an amazing guy. And lived there from the time I was 9 to the time I was till 18 when I left the house. Right. And the first year here was it was weird because I already knew English and I still held on as a kid. I held on to a lot of the things I learned in the Bronx at that time.
Like what? Hold on. What are you
like just talking the way I'm talking right now. You know what I mean? Like,
like talking street or like,
yeah, talking a little bit less formal, right? And in the Philippines, you legitimately learn how to speak proper English, and I did not. I always could distinguish that, right? And like, you probably talk to a Filipino. Like, if India, if you go in and like go call customer service, they're like either Indian or Filipino. Like, it's just what it is. Like, one of the biggest customer service countries is the Philippines. And it's funny because I always talk to them. They'll call me up and they'll talk English and I'll start talking Filipino to them. And they'll be like, I'm not allowed to say that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to say that because I need to practice. Like, they're not allowed to talk Filipino. They're supposed to talk English.
Yeah, because it's recorded.
Yeah, because it's recorded. So I get it, but I was like, man, come on, like, just let me practice because I don't have, you know what I mean? Where I live now, there's really just not a lot of Filipinos around here.
Wait, so you're telling me you're calling up customer service lines just to
No.
They weren't having it. They're like, no, this is recorded. No.
I don't do it on purpose. I do it.
I mean,
do
not
it when
now.
I need
I'm saying
to.
back then.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah. Anyway, so went through high school, did all that, and my parents were more traditional. They definitely are. They still are. They're traditional Filipinos. And by traditional, I mean that they just have a certain view. And it's just from your culture, right? Like, one of the things, if you've ever watched Joe Coy, famous Filipino, yeah, literally everything he says is legit because I went through it. And, Filipino moms have a predisposition. Like, they know what you're supposed to be, right? You don't have a choice in what career you're going into. And that's a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer, whatever. So anyways, me going into the military when I was 18, trying to go, wasn't exactly looked upon in a great light, right? Everybody wanted me to go to college, and at the time, like, I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, my 18-year-old self, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I want to do. College is like, I went to a Catholic private high school, which actually cost more than ODU at the time. If you know what ODU is, Old Dominion University, it costs more per year, or yeah, for the year than like a whole year at ODU, something to that effect. So I was like, that's not responsible, you know. Well, you can go to TCC, but I still don't know what I want to do. Like, just take gen ed and do what? You know what I mean? So I joined the military on look down upon. It wasn't to my parents' delight. I joined the military, not really, and I joined the Marine Corps. Didn't know what the heck I was getting into. Fast forward into the military. I was probably the most naive private, but anyways, V-22. I was a V-22 avionics technician. The first squadron to go to Afghanistan. In 2000. Wow, 2009. Yeah, 2009. And actually, my squadron was the last V-22 squadron there in 2014, I believe. Yeah, 2014. It's the VMM 261 out of Jacksonville, North Carolina, MCAS New River. So anyway, so I got out, I did the military thing, and I'm not going to go through that, because if you're watching this, you're probably a veteran or you're in the military and you know what it's like. So, but I got out in 2011 for a couple of reasons. One of them, they were giving out voluntary separation for education, because at that time I was like, I want to be an engineer, right?
Hold on, wait. So you found out what you wanted to do?
Yes, I wanted to be engineer, because I thought the people who engineered the V-22 were idiots. because I was like, as a maintainer, I was just like, this doesn't make any sense. Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Why would you have this cannon plug on this aircraft underneath a 60-pound generator, and I can barely get my hand in there, and I'm the small guy? Like, that doesn't make any sense, right? So, yeah, I wanted to become an engineer. So that was one reason. Another reason was because at that point, I got sick of it. And there was a few things that resulted from, like, basically I went to a party, and then me and a friend of mine, and if you're watching this, White, you know what I'm talking about. We went to a party. I ended up punching out somebody higher up than me to keep him from drunk driving, and I was threatened with attempted involuntary manslaughter because the guy had a concussion. Right? See, that's the same look. Concussion. And we all know what happens when you're drunk and you have a concussion. Generally speaking, you're going to pee yourself. And he did it twice in like 10 minutes. So we ended up driving. We ended up driving him. Let me back up. I punched him out. All hell broke loose. And then I was just me and my buddy and my girlfriend, who's now my wife at the time. My girlfriend at the time was like, we disbanded everybody. Get the heck out of here. Get out of here. Da, 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 da. Like, we're being too loud. Get out of here before the cops show up. And at that point, I only had one beer where everybody else had like a ton. So disbanded, took my superior. He was not an officer. Let's just put that out there. He was not an officer. Took him back to the apartment, let him sleep it off. Well, again, like I said, he pissed himself twice. So we were like, something's not right, and actually it was my girlfriend who was just like, we need to take him to the hospital. I'm like, you're right, let's go. Took him to the hospital. 0.28. Yeah, like, whoa. Yeah, like way too high. 0.28, and we stayed with him all night, and they tried to court-martial me. So I was like, no, screw this. I'm done. I'm done with the military. I was so close to getting out anyway that I've already pretty much I had like a month left, and I was so close to getting out, but I was still kind of a little bit on the fence. And when I was told that I could possibly be court-martialed, that made up my mind. So I still love the military. I still love the Marine Corps. Don't get me wrong. I love the Marine Corps. Like, I'm a Marine through and through. It was just at the time, just bad circumstances and bad turn of events. But I just got out. I just got sick of it. So I got out. Went to school. My girlfriend was a student at Virginia Tech. So I did not get into Virginia Tech. So I actually took whatever job I could find. Right, like I was a bus driver for a year for the town of Blacksburg at Virginia Tech.
Oh, how was that? I'm terrified of driving. Like,
dude, it was fun, man. Like, honestly, I don't know. There was another veteran there. He was a Marine also. He was a motor pool guy. So he got out like, I think a month before I did. And so he was brand new too. So it was me and him like going through training and learning how to drive a bus and driving anything from like a 20-foot or a 38-footer to a 30-footer to like the ones that have the we call them the accordion buses, the 60-footers. We
yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, which was really fun.
Sounds terrifying, man. I play GTA, and sometimes I'll steal a bus, and that's for anything. I don't know how. I mean, there's no way I could ever do this in my life.
Well, so the highlight of that, right, was I actually got to drive. Anybody who knows anything about football, especially Virginia Tech football, I had to meet Bud Foster. Like, I helped. They were doing some recruiting event, and I got to drive Bud Foster around, and I was like, the Bud Foster, but so yeah, I got, I'm working there and I'm going to community college. Funny thing is that into my spring semester that year, I got a call from an old sergeant of mine who was like, "Hey, you want a job?" I'm like, "Hey, that's a great idea. I'm making $9 an hour right now, doing part-time, barely scraping by with my GI Bill. Yeah. How much is it? North of 80K. When do you want me there? How fast and when do you want me there? What am I doing?" And it was a solar job in California. I was like, cool. So literally like a week and a half later, I was in California.
What?
Yeah. This was in 2012. Right. So I got out in 2011. So from 2011, I got out August 14th of 2011. It was a Saturday, which was hilarious. But
I thought on a Saturday?
Actually, not a Saturday. It was a Sunday. Yeah. So I actually technically got my papers that Friday.
Wow.
Yeah. I got out. So, and then I drove straight to Blacksburg because we had already found an apartment. I already had my job lined up and everything. So that was 2011, August. And then, June, that was actually, no, it wasn't the spring semester, it was the summer semester. June of 2012 is when I went to California. Took me 2 days to drive from western part of Virginia to, funny thing, Lancaster, California. And I now live in Lancaster, PA. So spelled the same. It's weird. It's Amish.
Destiny.
Right? Apparently I was meant to be here. So yeah, it was a job building a solar plant. And I was like, I'll interview. I'll do whatever, man. I'm not making any money. $9 an hour working basically 30 hours. You do the math. You barely scraping by with a car payment, with insurance. I was paying. I've been very self-sufficient since I've been on my own. So like I would never ask my parents or anybody really for money. I don't like to. And I think at that point, I was pretty much on my own anyway. So I just was like, no, I'm not asking anybody. So went to California, and I was there from July of 2012 to basically Memorial Day of 2015. So I helped build the plant as a electrical observer, which is basically a field guy, a QA guy. I was documenting how they were laying down all the high voltage lines, how they were setting all the panels, making all the electrical connections, so on and so forth, and comparing them to the prints. So that was from 2012 to basically 2014. January 2014, when I got hired on permanently there to staff the plant. Yeah, which was funny because I was a technician, but I was basically like in a supervisory role. Like we had gotten a contract for the builders to basically have their own maintainers maintain the site. And as my company, we were tasked as a technician with my company. I was tasked to oversee the maintenance. Long story short, that was from 2014 to 2015. In that time, my wife got pregnant. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. First kid. I have 3 suckers now. I have 3 terrorists. At the time I had 0. But she got pregnant in late 2014. And we basically said, I went up to my boss. I was like, look, man, like we have nobody here, and we want to be closer from home. Like I see an opportunity to transfer. I'd like to. So I did. I transferred. I came over here to nuclear. I work at a nuclear power plant first as a technician, now as basically a project, almost like a field project manager, overseeing work in the plant, overseeing upgrades, whatever. Basically, projects is what I do.
Hold on, I'm just curious. How similar is this to doing your avionics job? Is it completely different?
So it's simple. So the technician part of it it's pretty similar, but here's the thing: is that you don't. In the Marine Corps, at least in the V-22s, it was basically you're just chasing wires the whole time, right? Because it's fly-by-wire and all of this. So you're basically troubleshooting for the most part wires or computer boxes. In a nuclear power plant, there's a ton of relays, there's a bunch of other controls and all this stuff, and it doesn't prepare you at all to be like to handle it, right? And it's similar. Like the intent is similar, but just the knowledge gap is huge. Unless you were Navy nuclear, you know what I mean? You already had that type of background.
Yeah.
It's such a huge knowledge gap. So I struggled the first 3 years, but I always wanted to get back into projects. I like doing projects. I like my time in the solar field, I was basically, I helped the project team. And I loved that, seeing every aspect of something, taking a project from, conceptual design to a finished product. It's working, so on and so forth. So after a few years, basically after 5 years doing the technician thing, instrument and controls in the power plant, I was given the opportunity to become what we call an LIR, or lead install rep, and which translates to basically like a field project manager, a field project coordinator, however you want to deal with it. But basically, I oversaw all the vendors. I help with budgets. I help with schedules. I help help keeping it on track. And then I'm a pseudo supervisor representing the company to make sure that they're working to our standards, doing the job right, so on and so forth. 2 years into my nuclear journey, or 3 years, 3 years. Nope, 4 years. We're gonna one of those years out of the 5.
Years later.
Yeah, years later. I saw this thing on Facebook, right? And it was just this dude flying a drone. And I was like, well, first and foremost, I was like, this guy's a clown. Like, you just look like a clown. You know what I mean? And he's bald like me, which is funny. And he's just talking about like this, having a business, business this, business that. And I'm like, what the heck? It's got to be just another one of those pyramid schemes, And I followed him for about a year and a half, till finally I had one of those. I always told myself 3 bad days and I'm leaving the job. Like, I'm done, right? Leaving the company. I was on day 2 of the 3 bad days.
So what was happening?
Well, a lot of it was, this is what we talked about in episode 1, right? Like, I didn't know who to turn to. I was super depressed. Super depressed. I felt like my job was all about the money. It was just bringing my purpose in life had gone from the Afghanistan war and doing something bigger than myself and giving myself to a cause bigger than me, to now I go to work, come home, feed the kids, go to sleep, maybe take a shit, do it all over again. That was my existence. And I was like, what am I doing? You know? And then just that attitude translated to my work. And it showed, no matter how much I wanted to blame everybody else, it showed. And I started getting depressed. I started getting very angry, but I wanted out. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be angry, but I was just angry because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. Right. So, and I didn't have nobody to talk to. Like, at the time, me and my wife were on the rocks. So, like, who do you turn to? Right. Like, who do you talk to? Me and my parents weren't really on the best terms, and I didn't know who to talk to. So I started indulging way too much, at times, never at work, never to the point where I'd go to work drunk, but just I started indulging and started getting depressed, started getting angry. And so I remember that day I had a bad day at work, and just one of those, I woke up in a really bad mood, stayed in a bad mood, and it just felt like a black cloud was hanging over my head the whole time. So I got home, and I remember sitting in the driveway, pulled my phone. I saw his video again, and this is my coach, my mentor. Anyway, I saw his video again, and I was like, whatever, put it down, got out, grabbed my bag. And for some reason, I walked to the other side of my car and just kind of like backed up against it, right? Like, propped myself against outside of my car and pulled my phone out to that exact same video. I said, I'm not going to watch it. So I watched it. And everything he said, yes, at the time was very vulnerable, but it made sense to me. And you know what? I was like, if I can't find purpose in my job or in what I'm doing for my family, maybe something else, maybe I can find purpose somewhere else. I've always talked about having my own business, being my own boss. Well, here's a guy that's actually saying, hey, you could do this. So reached out to him, and next thing I know, like 10 minutes later, I'm like talking to the guy, and I'm like, well, this is weird, and like, oh man, this guy's gonna sell me, da 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 da. And the crazy thing about it was that he was like, no, I don't want your money. Here's some training videos. Go do that first. Tell me when you get through this course, go to this course, and then we'll figure this out. You got a week in each one, right? So that, to me, that was the first thing that struck me about it. I was like, huh, he ain't selling. Maybe he is maybe this guy is for real, right? Anyway, so I went through the course, and I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. So I started my business basically about 2 years ago. I started my own business. I mean, not to get too bogged down into the details, but basically it's changed a lot of things for me. And and with that, coupled with that business, plus me actually finding a resource, right? So I found a resource in all of this. I found an organization that works with veterans, works with first responders for therapy. And I just was like, I went down one day and I was just like, I need help. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I don't know who you are. I need help, and it also happened to be like a couple days removed from like some serious, pretty bad thoughts. You know what I mean? And so anyways, I went and got help, and like, we're coupled with this business, like, it started pulling that Marine out of me again, right? Like it started being like, hell yeah, like I can do this. Like, why can't I do this? Like this business is it's just it you can turn it to just being like a kind of like my time in the military. It's goal oriented, right? It's mission oriented. So I was like, okay, so I have this business and so on and so forth, and that's geared around health and wellness and geared around helping people. So one, I found a new purpose because as a veteran, ask any veteran, ask anybody in the military, they want to help people. At their core, I think they want to help people. So that gave me that purpose. And not only was I helping other people through health and wellness, but I was also helping my family. Indirectly and directly. Directly from money and finances and but indirectly, I was gaining my confidence again. Gaining that bravado, like I can do this. I can, from the time that I found the business, from the time I got out to the found the business, I was like, I'm too scared to. I turned inward. I started getting scared talking to people. I was very much like suspicious of other people. I started turning this weird hermit, and that started like the business just helped me. It forced me because if I have to do it, it forced me to start opening up, right? And start putting myself out there. And in turn, that led to building my confidence back up. It took away a lot of the notions of I can't do this and the self-defeating notions that can come from being depressed and struggling when you're coming out of the military. And so once I started going to this business and getting help and all of this like that, that's why we started this. You know what I mean? Like I approached you however long ago and I would have never done this 2 years ago. I wouldn't have never had the confidence, nor would I have ever had. This would be the furthest thought from my mind.
So this would have never happened. You're saying this whole was it Silent Patriots thing would have never happened if you didn't acquire and gain that confidence?
Absolutely. And plus this helped a little bit. No, it's just having that's the most important thing. And I guess that's my central message, or what I'm trying to get at, is that when you go into the military, they build you up and you have this confidence and you have like the world is your oyster, right? The world is the sky's the limit. When you get out, you believe that, but then life starts throwing shit at you. Like little ninjas out of the corner, just like throwing star. And at first you can just deflect it and move around it. However, you don't have that distraction or that structure to basically kind of force you to stop thinking about those. Right. So like, and you're in the military when life throws something at you, it's easy to be like, I have a mission. That's where I'm going. That's what I got to think about. Like my grandmother, when I was in Afghanistan, my grandmother died. I never cried, never really thought about it. You know what I mean? And it was like, I was in the middle of Afghanistan. What was I going to do? And so it was easy for me to just be like, well, I ain't got time for that. We got a mission to do. When you're in a civilian and stuff happens, you don't have that anymore, right? Until you find something to replace what the military did for you. Whether it's, and this is why I always encourage serving in some other capacity. And it doesn't have to be a job. It can be like going to your food bank and just donating food. Going into the homeless shelter and just, I don't know, making a bed. I don't know, going to SPCA and just taking a dog for a walk. Like it could be something as simple as that. And so that all of like finding that purpose helped me gain the confidence to, one, start treating my family right. I was ignoring them. To start putting myself out there, right? And the confidence to basically say, how did I say this? Find the same confidence I had when I was in the military, where nothing is impossible. You know?
I like the way you pretty much shared that. So I feel another thing that the military helps us out with too, when we're going through those situations that life throws at us, is we have those supervisors, we have those peers, and they're supporting us along that journey as well. So when something is happening, like our friends, they laugh it off or they make fun out of it, right? So that way you don't feel as damaged by that situation.
Well, yeah, like
yeah.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, like when I was, probably don't know this, and nobody has. Why would you know this? But so my wife right now is my second wife, right?
Wait, so you get holding stuff out on us?
Well, yeah. It's only episode 2, bro. You'll get there. No, so my current wife is my second wife. I got married. I was one of those statistics. Find a chick, she promises you the world. I'm marrying her. I'm getting off base, right? That's not the thinking, but that was pretty much right there. And so I got divorced pretty early in my life. I was like 23. Yeah, 22 when I got divorced finally, because there was a deployment in there somewhere. And North Carolina has this thing where you get married, doesn't matter how long you've been married, a 1.5 year separation, then you can file for divorce. So there was like the deployment in the middle of that. Well, I don't even know where I was going with this. I just completely forgot where I was going with this.
Well, good.
What was I? Yeah, so I like it. What was the original question?
Well, I started talking about how you get support and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So when I got divorced, right, I got home from the deployment, and we immediately, like 3 months later, we went on a debt, right? A temporary TDY, temporary assignment or whatever, in Arizona. Was it Arizona? Yeah, Yuma, Arizona. And in there, I got my divorce. Like, my lawyer called and was like, "Hey, you're officially divorced. It's all good. Like, I'll send you the papers," right? I'm like, sweet. My buddy found out about it. Consequently, it's the same guy I knocked out. But we were both, like, the same, like, rank at the time. And he was like, "I'm taking you out." And you have everybody just, like, literally went from me and him to, like, 10 people. Like, we all just went to a bar. Because we were night shift, we went to a bar at 7:00 in the morning and just was like celebrating, just having a good time, having a ball. Like, and they're all like, at the very end, they're like, "Dude, congratulations! Like, you finally got away from that cycle." Blah 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 blah. I'm pretty sure that's not what they said. So, my ex-wife is listening. I'm 100%, 99.9% sure that's not what they said. They didn't label you a psycho. Don't stop me. But yeah, that's to your point. Like, you have that support. Like, they'll celebrate anything with you, right? I tell I go to work. There's been days where I go to work and I'm like, "Yeah, man, like I did this and this," and they're like, "Oh, that's really cool." So yeah, you got to have this report in. Like, all right, man. I guess I'm not gonna be drinking with you or hanging out with you. Know what I mean?
Yeah, that brotherhood is missing, right?
Yeah,
that camaraderie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't mean to. I don't know where you were. Where else we were going with this? Where you were?
No, I
cut you off.
No, you're good. That was everything that I had. So eventually, Jullan and we connected because of his confidence and bravery, and of course, it was from the combination of that business that he had and that help that you also received, because it wasn't just the business, right? You actually went out and you saw an outside source that was actually helping you too, right? Yeah.
So I actually went and found it's equine therapy. I don't care how big, bad, Navy, whatever you are. I don't care how big and bad you are. There's something wrong here. There can be something wrong here. and it's hard. It's easy to deny and it's hard to admit that you might have a problem. And it all came to a head one day. It was just a bad fight with my wife and a bad day at work. It was bad, right? And so I just had to, I had nobody to talk to, no one to turn to. So it was an equine therapy place. And I told myself when I got there, I was like, this is stupid. If this lady is just trying to get money or just trying to use me for some promo or, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to listen, because I'd already done the VA thing. I already done that. And I knew that did never helped. So yeah. And I mean, basically a year later, a year and a half later, it's been awesome. You learn things about yourself. And one of the things I learned about myself is I was more creative when I was a kid. You bury so much inside you because if it's not critical to the mission, it doesn't matter. But when you get out, there's all these things that at least for me, I never cultured. I hadn't touched since I joined the military. And one of them was always wanting to own a business. One of them was film editing. One of them was flying a plane because my eyes. I mean, you should see how thick these freaking things are. I couldn't do that in the military. I was a Top Gun guy, man. I love Top Gun. Who doesn't, right? Kelly McGill's. Oh, anyways, I wanted to do all that, and I forgot about it all. I forgot that, I was just super creative, or at least I thought I was super creative. I forgot that, I enjoyed running or working out. You just forget things, and it gave me the confidence, business and going to therapy and just really talking about me. I don't care who you are, right? It takes a lot more courage to actually ask for help than it does to just sit there and be like, I got this, and struggle through it. Why would you struggle through it? If you miss that, that's the beauty of all these veterans organizations out there. A lot of the times they're there to help you, but also that's easy way to connect with other veterans, other people who are in the military. And you could literally, I walked up to some dude and I was be like, hey man, so, blah, 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 I'm Jullan. I was in from this time. Oh, cool. I was in the Vietnam. I'm like, oh man, tell me about that. All right, let's go get a beer. I'm like, boom. That was it. That was literally, that's how the conversation went, and I spent 3 hours with him at a bar, just him talking. And it was awesome. And he listened to me. I listened to him, but it's asking for door open. My alarm. Now it's closed. Asking for help and finding my purpose gave me the confidence to build a business, which coincidentally helped me actually almost find that same purpose, and it also kind of helped me rediscover who I am. Because I think you said this before, and if not, you said it in the last episode. You're more than your service. You're more than just an airman who, I don't even know your MOS, but who, I'm more than a Marine who fixed planes. You could be more than an airman who stands at a gate or tells people to go, I don't know, go get Burger King, whatever.
Pretty close to what I do. Yeah, I always tell them to just go get Burger King.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
That's my whole job. I tell guys when to go get Burger King.
Is that from your hotel? I had to throw it in. I couldn't help it.
No, you're good, man. So that's awesome. I want to say thank you for a few things. For one, for realizing when you were in that dark time, that because a lot of people lately have been in a dark space, had that cloud over their head, and they decide to take their own life. And that is a very selfish way of doing things. You're hurting a lot of people in the process. And I feel everyone is brought onto this earth for a purpose. You are here for a reason. There's a reason why you're here on earth, and you're meant to do something that's going to impact the world. Many people are ending the show way too early. And so I want to say thank you for when that dark cloud came over your head, you went out and you sought help, whether that was from a mentor, from someone with a business, whether that was going to an outside agency. I want to just say thank you for taking the time to do that, because you're helping me. There's so many other people you're impacting, and you're taking care of your family. I'm sure you're gonna provide that knowledge to your kids as well, and pass that on so we can all grow and be stronger for when that cloud happens to come over our head as well.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. It's hard, man. Like I said, we're built to be mission oriented. We're built to be, we're all pretty much type A personalities, and we don't accept help very easily. We got it. Like, we got this, and it's so against the nature and the culture that we were ingrained in. But, it took, don't get me wrong, it took a lot of work to get to that point. I denied it for a long time, for years, that I needed help, and it took something pretty drastic to basically be like, okay, I really do need help, and so for some of us, I'm talking to you guys who are watching, like, if you know somebody who is in a dark spot, like, don't stop bugging them. Don't stop checking up on them. Actually, I'll tell you, like, they might be pissed off at you. They might get mad at you or stop talking to you or whatever, but keep persisting. Like, it's not worth it, because right now they're not thinking clearly. I wasn't thinking clearly, until my wife basically said, you need to do something, and then I had just, for some reason, that light bulb finally went off. So, but yeah, that's enough of me.
Yeah. So let us know what you think about Jullan's story. Put it in the comments below. Like, what do you resonate with? What did you like? What didn't you like? I mean, it's his story. You can't like, I guess you can not like parts, right? But just let us know what you thought about this and how this resonates with you. All right. So we're just curious on getting your feedback, letting us know what you think about this episode, because I know this one is a little personal and you get to learn a lot about Jullan. So the next one is the exciting one, right? Yeah.
My bro over there, L'Apprentice, is going to tell us his story, and we're going to, now that you've watched me yap my gums for like the past hour, now you get to hear him yap for another hour. And no, it's going to be cool, because I think, we're from such different worlds, even now, that it's going to be interesting, and you can resonate, like, you can take whatever you want from what I said, and you can definitely take whatever you want from what he said, and forge your own way. There's so many ways to live life and to find who you are and all of this. So anyway, stay tuned. That's episode 3. Super excited. I appreciate everybody who stuck by and listened to me yap my gums.
Really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you, man. And again, see you guys later.
All right. See ya.